this versus that.
When you pour a Coca-Cola into a glass, why does this happen? Why does it get all fizzy, lose most of its carbonation, and then go flat? Well, there are several competing forces to consider. The temperature of the soda, the way you pour, the texture of the ice, the texture of the glass, the solubility of gases, and nucleation. What's nucleation, you ask? Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? Up first, we'll look at temperature. This bottle of Coke is at room temperature, and as it's poured straight into the glass, you can see huge loss of carbonation. Even when the Coke is poured gently down the side of the glass, there's still way too much fizz and carbonation loss. Now, we'll do the same thing one more time, only this time the bottle of Coke is from the fridge. As it's poured straight in, you can see some fizz and carbonation loss, but nothing like when the Coke was warm. Next, the Coke gets poured gently down the side, and hello! Almost no fizz or carbonation loss whatsoever. So what's the deal? Well, soda is a liquid that's supersaturated with CO2 gas. And as we have just seen, gases are, for the most part, more soluble in cold liquid, meaning you're going to have less CO2 loss pouring a cold Coke than a warm one. Up next, the room temperature Coke is poured over ice cubes straight from the freezer. We'll call this rough ice. You can see that the ice's surface is dry and, well, rough. And there's a significant carbonation loss. Then, the same room temperature Coke is poured over ice that we made slick, meaning after we put it in the glass, we filled the glass with water, then dumped the water out, leaving us ice that glistens. Its surface is smooth. It's what we're calling slick. Here's the rough and the smooth ice side by side. You can see the rough ice gives off much more carbonation. We did the same thing with the cold Coke from the fridge. First, we poured it over the rough ice. And then, we poured it over the slick ice. So, why did we lose so much less carbonation pouring both the room temperature and cold Coke over the slick ice? Remember I said something about nucleation and that we'd get to it? Well, we're here. As you can see, the rough ice has more of what are called nucleation sites. Nucleation sites are places where the supersaturated carbon dioxide can make bubbles and escape. So, what does this have to do with smooth and slick ice? The water used to make ice contains impurities, and these impurities, along with the rough bumps or ridges on the ice's surface, foster subtle changes in the soda's resting state. In its resting state, the CO2 gas, for the most part, remains saturated inside the soda. However, the nucleation sites change the pressure equilibrium. The pressure from the water and the syrup is stronger than the CO2's ability to make bubbles and escape. So, these nucleation sites cause a rupture in that balance and permit the CO2 gas to form a bubble that increases in pressure and size and then floats to the top, releasing the CO2 and making your Coke flat. However, by running the rough ice under the water and making it slick, some of the impurities are removed. The rough edges of the ice are made smooth. Ergo, now that the surface is slick, there are fewer nucleation sites. Ipso facto e pluribus unum vente macchiato, less loss of CO2. So, what's the perfect way to pour a Coke? First, your Coke's gotta be cold from the fridge. Second, when you pour, tilt the glass. Otherwise, pouring down the middle of the cup so the soda crashes into the bottom abruptly augments the soda's equilibrium, allowing CO2 to escape. And third, if you want ice, make it slick before you pour.
You've got decisions, we'll help you make them. ThisVersusThatShow.com. Click the Facebook icon so you'll be the first to know when new episodes premiere. This versus that. No bias, no bullshit, just science and facts.